Welcome to another edition of Free Camera Friday. We got an interesting, or I should say different, unique episode today. Surprisingly enough, there, was not a single entry in this week's Free Cam Friday. Nobody entered. And as fate would have it, it kind of works out because I checked the poll from last week at noon o'clock, and we are neck and neck. We have a tie between the feel-good story of ATV Guy from Rillick the Fool and Uber driver trafficker from Moises from Philadelphia. And now there were only 75 votes when I saw it. I don't know if you can see it there, but there was like 70 or 75 votes. So I think as we're learning the Free Cam Friday contest as we go, I think there should be a minimum of 100 votes before it can be decided. You know, because you got to have like a good sample size, and this works out that we're finding out this way. Put that in the fine print for next time. But we're tied. We're neck and neck. So in lieu of no new entries and the fact that we're tied, we're just going to let this roll to next week. So ATV Guy, so Rillick and Moises, the battle continues. I don't think I'm going to start a new poll. I think we're just going to let it dry. I was thinking about just doing a poll between the ATV Guy and the Uber trafficker. That way anyone who voted for Scariest Ride Ever could, weigh in between the two. But, we're going to let it roll. And we'll see how it goes. Did not get any new entries. Been a slow week for the Free Camera Friday. First of all, have you guys, can you guys hear me all right? I think I got the mic set up good now. Let me know. But not only did we not get any new entries, as of this morning, we had the biggest goal last week of 15 books. I tried to sell 15 books. It would have been a record week. Having a record year like Eric Church, right? Thanks to Mike, and I appreciate that your wife's liking some of the stories. We sold one book to Mike, and there was another book that through the Venmo. Man, again, I feel bad butchering her name, Kinsia. Like, she's just been such a supporter. She's the only one taking advantage of the Venmo, man. I think I got to make a video of this. Like, pay what you want. I'm telling you, I'd be happy if it was just shipping. You know, $5. I'll ship out as ever many books. Man, if you want to get real entrepreneurial, you're an Uber driver. Send me, $20 for 4 books, $5 shipping for each. And then you got 4 books you can sell in your Uber for $20 each. I've actually thought of doing that, like reaching out to drivers. I'd happily give my books out to drivers trying to be a little entrepreneurial because, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like, I'd probably say like 40% of the rides I get. What's the craziest thing that ever happened to Uber? And it's a pretty easy sell. Funny you ask. I have a book I wrote. But anyway, I digress. So let's move this on up. We sold 2 paperback books. Bring it to 343. We sold, let me refresh this. We were at 79 last week. Let's hit the refresh. Data last refreshed 16 hours ago. I don't know if you can see that. 10 right now. We need a miracle here. Oh, still at 89. Hey, that's great. We still got 10 downloads, so 10 there. So we're going to bump this up to 353. And now what we need is 3 Kindle books. And the last I saw, I'm a little hesitant to do this because I don't know if I'll show you any private information, but whatever, I can always cut it out. So how do I do this? Where are the reports? Oh, here it is, reports. Last 30 days. Oh, only one book. Only one book. That was from last week. I think I got the 24th last time. Yeah. Only one. So you know what that means, my friends. Wait, let me make sure. Hold on. We're going to go. I'm never great with doing this. View orders. All books. We just want that one, and we want Lifetime. There we go. 30, yeah. So we only got one this past week. Appreciate it. Hey, one's better than none. So bring that up to 30, 54. So that means 10, 11, 12. We only sold 13 books. This was the first 5 weeks. 5 weeks. We got 13 books. We missed our goal. But hey, you know what? It happens. Being that this is the 5th week, well, I guess the 4th week, and we missed our goal, you know, not bad. We're 3 for 4. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So we were 2 away. It's okay. We still got 13 out there. Unlucky number, but that's okay. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have the goal again of 15 this week, and I'm gonna have to buckle down. The reason you don't hit goals is because you ain't trying hard enough. So I'm just gonna have to put a little elbow grease, and we're gonna get 15 this week. So next week we will be up to at least 369. We can get it done. So another goal. 15 books, let's get it done next week. And again, it's all everything's just like the way it's going is, you know, didn't get the goal, no entries. Maybe it's just a slow week. People are going back to school, whatever it is. In other news, between me and you, I entered in this book contest. I got a super good review from the reviewer, and I was like, you know, you don't want to expect too much. You don't want to assume things, but I was like, man, the review I got, I might even be able to find it. It was a fire ass review. And I'm like, all right, man, this is really gonna, boom, here it is. Yeah, all right. Here's the critique I got for this book contest I entered, right? Book contest, you know, would have been, it's like a pretty thousands of entries, reader's favorite, really good. Appearance 5, plot 5, development 5, formatting 5, marketability 5, overall opinion 5 out of 10. No, I'm kidding. Out of 5. This is all good, right? And check out this synopsis by Carol Thompson. Internationally known, locally disrespected by Eddie Doyle, is an absorbing collection of true stories from the front seat of an Uber. It provides a gritty, humorous, and sometimes raw look at the range of human experiences through the eyes of a Philadelphia-based driver. Doyle's narrative is compelling as each chapter presents a new story that explores the unpredictability of interactions with passengers, blending humor with an insightful examination of societal behavior. The book's structure, with each story standing on its own, allows readers to dip in and out of Doyle's experiences, making it a flexible read that suits at any pace. And a little side note here, the little artistic element that she didn't pick up on is like, that's part of the Uber experience. One ride could be like the ATV guy, feel good story. Man, this makes me feel amazing that there are people in the world like this. And the next ride could be 2 women accusing you of being a trafficker, like Moises. And, you know, that's part of a, you know, if people don't pick up on that, I don't mind, but that's part of something that I love as an Uber driver, that I could kind of make the book reflect that by the standalone stories. Eddie Doyle has a unique talent for capturing the essence of every encounter, whether it's a lighthearted exchange or a deeper, more reflective interaction. This skill makes the book entertaining and a meaningful commentary on the complexities of city life and the unexpected moments of connection between strangers. He masterfully captures the essence of Philadelphia's urban landscape, using his cab as a microcosm for a broader social commentary. I forgot she said that. The diversity of his passengers provides a window into the complex tapestry of human life. Man, this has me thinking like I should send this to like colleges. His keen observations and sharp wit turn everyday commutes into life lessons, making readers laugh one moment and reflect the next. Doyle's authentic voice and unique lens on life give this book personality and a true reflection of the drama and joy of human experiences. Internationally known, locally disrespected, invites readers to look beyond their reflections in the rear view mirror. Nice. And see the world through the eyes of others, making it an excellent read for anyone fascinated by the human condition. Man, I got that feedback and I was like punching the air. I was so pumped. I remember I was driving to go play tennis and I was so thrilled when I got all that, and I crushed it at tennis because my confidence was on high. And like I was pumped. And again, like I was thinking like, man, at least I'll get an honorable mention in this book contest. Like this is the same person running the book contest and everything. Anyway, long story short, got the notification on Monday, whatever the first was. Yeah, Monday, that did not win a single thing. But you know what that is? Name a single great piece of work that didn't have a backstory of, oh, you know, Stephen King got rejected by 30 publishers. Dr. Seuss was going to quit until a chance encounter with an old college friend. So-and-so put the thing in the trash and their wife dug it up. What's that? I think that Carrie. Maybe that was Stephen King. Or maybe it was John Grisham. He put the manuscript in the trash after getting rejected by so many people, and his wife dug it out and was like, don't be a bitch. I don't think she said don't be a bitch, but she was like, don't quit. In my head, the subtext was don't be a bitch. And there's so many stories of, look, these you know, publishers, they don't recognize unique stories of greatness. They just pump out the same crap. That's why the book industry's failing. And one day they're going to realize like, oh, people don't want this same recycled garbage. They want something different and real. And that's when they'll see my book. But by then it'll be too late. So joke's on them, people. All right. Let's catch up with, what else do we got to talk about? So I got a little list. It's going to be a little different today. Oh, and I want to play this in the background. I'll catch up with the chat. All right, so this week we got 15 books. We're going to make it done. I got the time lapse playing. I need to set up like a really long time lapse. I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm just going to drive through city and have this background of just like city shots. Philadelphia. I think that'll be, you know, a little more entertaining, soothing to watch. And I'll roll that out next week when we hit our goal of 15 books. As always, the Venmo, send $5, send the book out. Or if you guys, I still got codes. I got like 20 codes left. So if you guys are interested in a free audiobook, just email the driveredshow@gmail.com saying you want a code, and I'll send one over. All right, let's catch up with the chat. Yeah, I try to avoid Wilmington too. I've had some bad experiences in Wilmington, and Wilmington slept on as like, it's a little better now. It's a lot better now, but it's slept on as there's some pretty shady areas. And the weird part is the shady areas are like 2 blocks away from like the downtown areas. So it's like you're either safe or you're not. There's not a lot of in between. Kilmington. Didn't they used to call it Kilmington? Rillick the Fool, what's up? Thanks for submitting the story. You're neck and neck. Tied up. We're going to let it roll. I don't know if you were here when I said it. We're letting it roll another week. I got no entries this week, so we're letting your story, the poll, roll another week. We're trying to get to 100. The royalties estimator for, I'm assuming I don't know if you were saying for the audiobook or the Kindle. To be honest, I'm like, I don't really concern myself with that because if it was up to me, I'd give out the audiobook for free, and I am with all the codes. And, you know, it's really not at the point where it's worth worrying about, to be honest. And it's also one of those things like I can't control it. I do know it's weird with, I think with both, maybe just with the ebook, it's like you can either opt in for like 70% royalties or 35% royalties, and depending on what you pick, it like affects how they push it out. It's all really weird. Or it's like, I think maybe if the book's priced more than $10, you can't get 70%, but if it's less than $5, I don't know. And again, Right now, actually not. It's just basically it's not the energy I need to figure all out. You know, um, in ChatGPT it. I'm sure they'll figure it all out. But I always and the reason I say all that is like I always tell people who want to write a book, like you should not write a book um, with the goal to make money. Like that should not be your first goal because I fully believe I'm going to make money from this book one day, but the money isn't gonna. It's gonna take a while. As the whole reason we're doing this, in case you missed it, Angus, is like a famous author, Tucker Max, very successful author, said the only true form of book marketing that actually works is getting 5,000 copies into circulation. And if it's a good book, word of mouth will, take it to where it needs to go. If it's not, word of mouth will make it flop. But all that said is, to get 5,000 copies out costs time and money. It costs time and money to write the book, edit the book, produce the book. And then, why I'm really pushing this audiobook is like that's the one avenue where I can give this out for free. I can give out the coupon codes to get a free download. And, with all that, I don't know how it works with like, I guess I don't know how it works if people end up signing up, if I end up getting money, but they're giving out for free. So I don't know how, if I gave out 1,000 free download codes, I don't expect to get any money because they're all free. But yeah, so that's the thing. You shouldn't worry about the money making aspect when writing and producing a book right away. You should think about like, okay, I'm going to need the marketing budget to get 5,000 copies out there somehow. And yeah, I sell books along the way. I make some money from Audible and Kindle that helps, but all that's to say is, art's a grind, man. Art's a grind. Clapter, they call it. I always love that Norm Macdonald never did blatantly partisan political comedy. If I had to guess, he thought it was too painter. Yeah, okay, so with the political Clapter. I've never thought of that. Dude, yeah, Clapter. I hate Clapter. I absolutely hate Clapter. On that note, what's up, Anna? On that note, it was either The Simpsons or South Park. I'm pretty sure it's The Simpsons. The writers of The Simpsons have this rule where it's like, look, if we're going to make a joke about Republicans, the joke has to make Republicans laugh. If we're going to make a joke about Democrats, it's going to have to make Democrats laugh. If we're going to make a joke about people using pronouns, it's going to have to make the people who use pronouns laugh, which in my experience is very hard. But that's why I don't make a lot of pronoun jokes, which ironically enough, the only like really bad email I got from my book, like feedback I got, was somebody was a little pissed about some jokes in that regard in the book. But hey, man, I stand by my jokes and my observations. It is the real world's the real world. Sorry you have a hard time coming to grips with it. But anyway, I like that. Clapter. Mark says, hey, Eddie, hello from Provi, Rhode Island. Love listening to you read your book while I drive Uber. You bring the stories alive. Love you, brother. Keep up great content. Well, I really appreciate you downloading the book, and that's really cool. You're listening to the Uber stories while Ubering. I don't know if this was you, Mark. There was somebody that shared they planned on doing that, and fair warning, as I said myself, I don't feel comfortable playing my Uber book in my Uber because, it's not the most PC thing. And some of the stories might rub people the wrong way, especially out of context, Yeah, perfect example. There's quite a few N-words in the story. I mean, anyone who's driven Uber, at least in Philadelphia, I don't know where you guys are from, but like, it's hard to drive Uber without hearing that word, And what I always tell people, I've never heard it in like a malicious sense. People just think like, the world was full of like these angry, racist people. No, it's always like a term of endearment or anything it is. And so anyway, that word comes up a lot in the book. Not a lot, but like more than an average book. And, that's not really something you want to be playing in front of Uber passengers, especially out of context, Like imagine them getting in the car right when that word's hit. And it's like, might be a little tough. You enjoyed the last video you put out the other day? You mean the story video or the one about Uber so bad? Because I actually, one of the things we're going to do today is look at some of the comments on that. Oh, you avoid Philly. Yeah, way back. Keep the doors locked until it passes, right? Oh, yeah. Tucker, you read all of Tucker Max's stuff. He's a funny guy. Never apologize to the woke mob. BMX, BMF, that means a lot coming from someone from Boston. It's, I'm sure you see it's one of the wokest areas on earth. I don't know how anyone can make the pronoun people laugh. Love the C word, hate the N word. The story video, nice. Man, I'm liking my people here. Good stuff. 2 minutes behind live. Clouds are worse. As soon as it's out, good idea. Self-aware teasing. Right. All right, cool. All right, so what I want to do today as we embark on another journey to the 15 books and no entries, what I found was I got some comments we're going to see, and I also found this story. The spirit of this whole thing is that everyone needs a dash cam. And I found this story titled, New Footage Clears Man of a Fatal Hit and Run of a Kid, which is just, everything about this, like, trigger warning, just sounds tragic. But, I just think it's very fitting for, and I want to be clear, like, I almost didn't click it because, especially as a parent now, like, these are the kind of stories that, even when I don't hear these stories, these are like the fears that are like, someone says they have a bad day. I'm like, well, this is just like absolutely tragic. Just sad story, not to bring anyone down, but it's just like.
It obtains new surveillance video showing what is believed to be the SUV belonging to the woman now charged in a hit-and-run crash that killed a 6-year-old boy. You can see the vehicle driving down the street about a minute after the fatal crash. The man who was initially arrested in the case is now free after spending 2 weeks in jail.
He spoke exclusively to Maddie Kurth about how he's working to further clear his name.
I was crucified in every way humanly possible by everybody.
Nearly 3 weeks ago, Cody Bodette found himself handcuffed in the back of a St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office cruiser.
You just could hear my 6-year-old screaming at the top of her lungs in, tears from, fear.
Did they tell you what they were picking you up for?
Had no idea what was going on for a few hours.
And see, that's the part where I'm like, I just thought it was interesting to share. Because again, the real tragedy here is what happened to the true victim of this. But then as I'm watching this, and he said that as he's getting arrested, he has a 6-year-old, his own daughter, in his car who's freaking out because it's like, I'm sure these cops had guns. I'm sure there was multiple cops, and, getting pulled over and your dad taken out of the car by men with guns. I'm sure that was like, that's something that kid's going to remember forever. That's something he'll remember forever. And it's like, again, when you don't have any evidence on your side and the cops just think something, what can go on? And that's, that's just like, it's a real effed up situation.
Picking you up for?
Had no idea what was going on for a few hours.
Unbeknownst to him, St. Tammany investigators made Bodette the prime suspect in the hit-and-run death of 6-year-old Jeremiah Ramirez. A driver killed the boy while deputies say he was riding his scooter in the driveway of his Slidell home around 6 p.m. August 13th. Bodette says he told deputies when they pulled him over in his Chevy Suburban SUV that he was in the area around the time of the crash for his daughter's cheer meeting at a nearby high school. Deputies booked him with vehicular homicide, hit-and-run driving, and reckless operation of a motor vehicle related to the child's death.
They were 100% sure they had their guy.
It really does make me wonder how many other people out there are in a situation like ours.
Bodette.
Now, I want you guys to remember 2 things. One, when he was arrested, his daughter was in the car with him, and what they said right there. Oh.
Of a motor vehicle related to the child's death at a nearby high school. Deputies booked him with vehicular homicide, hit-and-run driving, and reckless operation of a motor vehicle.
So at this point in the story, all the news is saying is deputies booked him on 3 charges related to the victim's crash. But there's more to it, and this is like why it's just a crazy ending to this story.
Related to the child's death.
They were 100% sure they had their guy.
You know, it really does make me wonder how many other people out there are in a situation like ours.
Bodette's sister, Jordan Rolston, says she never believed the deputies and went out to the neighborhood where Jeremiah was killed to start digging. She says she found a house with a clear view of the street and a security camera that caught a silver Nissan Armada exit the neighborhood minutes after the crash. Rolston said the Armada had serious front-end damage, and she says the homeowner who gave her the video of the Armada told her at the time that deputies never knocked on their door.
St. Tammany Parish Sheriff was going to convict my brother off of no evidence they had, when all they had to do was go attempt to get the evidence by looking for more camera footage or anything really.
Stressful, depressing, emotional. Every word you can think of. I mean, it was a nightmare.
Rolston got in touch with Dallas McClanahan, an ex-cop turned private investigator.
This is like a movie. Like his name's Dallas. He wears a cowboy hat. Like, this is just wait till you hear his voice. But again, like, I think it's super interesting. Not again, but I think it's worth noting how, like, you know, if it wasn't for this sister asking people in the neighborhood for footage, this guy's in jail for 2 weeks. It's not like he can go out and ask people. And most of these Ring cameras, like, they only record for a week or two. So, like, who would go and look? You know, if he didn't have a sister, like, out of the house free, you know, not in jail, like, willing to go and do that and ask those questions, like, you would never find this. You know what I mean?
In Slidell. McClanahan says he took her evidence and tried to bring it to the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office, but he says investigators weren't interested.
Do you often get told, I'm not interested in talking to you?
Very, very rare. Usually they'll sit down and talk to me. Only time is if there's some kind of conflict of interest.
Joe Rispani, Fox 8's legal analyst, is representing Bodette as his defense attorney in this case.
If you look at the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office in a light most favorable to them, they're lazy, they're negligent, and they didn't care.
Those are like my favorite insults. Like, I don't think a lot of people don't even pick up like how insulting it is to say that. In the most favorable way to look at this, if you give them all benefit of the doubt, they are these 3 really shitty things. And that just leaves, like, if you don't give them any benefit of the doubt, they're, you know, incompetent, or, sorry, I think you might have said that, but they're corrupt, they're evil, you know what I mean? But, like, being the nicest possible, they are lazy, you know, whatever.
The St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office won't answer any of our questions about this case. But in a news release, Sheriff Randy Smith said once new evidence came to light, his investigators moved swiftly to redirect the investigation and identify the correct suspect. Rispani says after the Sheriff's Office denied meeting with the private investigator, he then took the evidence directly to District Attorney Colin Sims.
I've reached out to law enforcement dozens and dozens of times. Sometimes they'll listen to me, sometimes they won't. That's fine. But in this particular case, I saw they were not listening to anybody, so I went directly to the DA's office. They acted appropriately. We went and got a bond hearing set as quickly as we could.
Last Friday, Sims ultimately refused all charges against Bodette that were related to the child's death.
He was in jail for 2 weeks for something he didn't do.
Hours after the DA refused the charges, deputies announced the arrest of Connie Noel Estes for hit and run causing death and obstruction of justice. A judge set a bond of $1 million.
Those 2 weeks felt like 20 years to me and my family.
You know, now that the air has been cleared and they've arrested a different person, has anybody apologized or spoken to you?
Of course not. I can't imagine that they will admit or hold themselves accountable for anything.
After weeks of his arrest circulating online,
my name will always be associated with that original mugshot and the defamation that came with that.
Cody Bodette says he wants justice for himself and for 6-year-old Jeremiah.
I just hope that, especially with a crime of this magnitude, that a little more investigating and police work goes into the charges before making an arrest.
Maddie Kurth, Fox 8 Local First.
In addition to the now refused charges related to the child's death, deputies also booked Bodette with DWI, driving with a suspended license, child endangerment, and no child restraint. The St. Tammany Sheriff's Office says those charges remain.
Now, that's the part of the story where all right, a lot to unpack here, but basically, so much to unpack here. Just tragic on all levels, but it's something that I talk about in the book. It's something I like. It's just something I've learned, the hard way, so to speak, where it's like, at the end of the day, you got to understand that, cops are just people doing a job, and their goal is to close cases and make arrests. And if they have the evidence or the probable cause or whatever to do it, like, why would they continue doing work on something that they think is done, And if it wasn't for this sister, not only that, but then reaching out to a PI who then reached out to a legal analyst of a news station, like, not only did this sister have to find information, but they had to go through back channels to get the information to the attention of the DA because the police just weren't interested. They were like, why would we do more work on something that we already figured out, Because as far as they're concerned, they had it figured out. So why would they reopen? What's an example? If you installed a toilet, and then someone comes along and says, I think you messed up installing this toilet. You can do it better. But as far as the toilet's working fine. You're like, why would I take my toilet off the thing and do all this other you just wouldn't do it, Sorry, my mind always goes to plumber. Like, I just think everyone knows plumber, weird example. But it's just like, they're people doing a job, and it's just like, it absolutely shocks me that, that's the way they would handle it. Now, the crazy thing, I know, so Lightboard, that I had to watch that twice. Why were charges different? She had the same 3 charges, plus I'm guessing DUI meant he was stoned while he was driving his daughter. Karanji, sorry if I said that wrong. I literally had to watch that part twice, and I had to look. The girl's name's different. I was like, are they charging her with DWI? Like, what's going on? And this is where I just wish, like, the news did a little better. It's just why, like, I don't want to say there's 2 sides to every story, but there's just always more, And again, as like, it's really easy to, especially this day and age, especially with these like YouTube channels and stuff, where it's like, all right, these cops are just lazy, incompetent, like, they just want to close the case, everything I just said. But when she slips in at the end there,
Go First.
In addition to the now refused charges related to the child's death.
So they dropped the charges to the guy related to the child.
Deputy.
But they also charged them.
Also booked Bodette with DWI, driving with a suspended license, child endangerment, and no child restraint.
So you can stand to reason that means that when they stopped him, when he had his daughter in the car, he had a suspended license. The kid didn't have a seatbelt on, which is, you can either get charged for child endangerment, or, as they said, DWI, and again, like, this is where I wish the news did a better job. Does that mean they suspected him of that? Because we've all seen stories of, like, they charged somebody with DWI even though they blew zeros because they expected him of being high. And then because of that, suspected him of being high. And then because of that, that's child endangerment because you're around. Or was he actually drunk and they had a breathalyzer and he blew something over the limit? Or did he refuse a breathalyzer because, he didn't know what was going on, and because of that, he gets charged with DWI. So it's like, it's one of those things where, okay, let's say this guy was hammered in the afternoon driving his daughter around on a suspended license, and that's when the cops pulled over. If I'm a cop, I'm thinking, okay, well, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, like this guy's drunk driving his daughter on a suspended license with no seatbelt on, yeah, it stands to reason he would be, you know, a suspect in this other accident in this same neighborhood that he said he was in. But if this was like a bogus DWI thing because he, you know, refused to take a breathalyzer, or because the cops suspected him of being high, or the cops smelled something, like those are very different things. And the tough thing is like, this day and age, you don't know, because you see so much stuff out there. You don't know if these are cops just trying to spin a story to make him fit a suspect's, you know, profile, or if, like, okay, this is who this guy is, and, you know, that's why the cops might suspect that he would lie about the other things. You know what I mean? And that's where I wish this news story would just kind of like not be so devious, because that's exactly what they're doing. It's like the right question to ask is, you know, answer those questions. And the reason they're not doing that, and again, I was thinking about this morning. I heard a crazy story about the American Revolution, which I won't nerd out. But the Tea Party is not what we thought it was. Long story short, maybe it'll pop up in your algo. But basically, it's like the one thing you can trust people on is that they're self-interested, right? And my theory on why they didn't dive into this story is because what's the reason this whole story came to light? What's the reason Fox 8 is probably handling this? It's because their legal analyst is the one representing this guy, Baudet or Badet, whatever his name is. So their legal analyst is the one that's talking to the DA, and I bet dollars to donuts he's the one that's going to sue the city on behalf of this guy, make a shit ton of money. And so it doesn't behoove him, who works for the news station, who's bringing them this story, to talk about and shed light on the fact that, yeah, his client was driving on a suspended license at the very least, in the most favorable way to look at it, as he said himself. At the very least, his driver was driving on a suspended license with a daughter who didn't have a seatbelt on. In the least favorable way to look at it, he was drunk or high, clearly, and driving his daughter on a suspended license. And it's like, again, it's just, if there's one thing you can count on people for, is like, you know, what's their motive? And I think he said it in this thing, is either him or the Dallas guy said it too. And it's just like, it's a shame. It's a shame that the world's like that, you know? I was thinking about it because, you know, as I mentioned, I got kids now too. And it's like, how do you explain that to people? How do you explain that to your kids? Like, yeah, you can trust people to be self-interested. And I think the trick is like, you just got to be around the type of people who you can trust that their self-interest isn't going to impede on yours, you know? And this sounds super cynical, but I honestly look at it as like, it's like freeing, you know? It's like, if you just can trust people, it's I don't know. It is a dark story, but, you know, so dark takeaway, but hey man, that's life. And that's some of the things there's few people that I've seen drive Uber, that I've talked to, driven Uber, that have not come to that same conclusion about people, especially when you see people drunk and like drunk all the time. It's like, you just see like, you can see some of the most basic levels of the way humans act. But yeah. And again, it's not to be depressing. It's honestly like, I almost think it's like encouraging, because it's like, you can trust people, you know, like you can trust people to be a person, because that's who they are. I think the disappointment comes when you expect people to be something they're not, you know? But, all right. Let me catch up. It's like the woman who claimed the guy she dated 20 years ago assaulted her, kicked in her door, then ran away. He had been paraplegic for years, still paralyzed. The cops still arrested him. Anna, I saw that video too. I bet we got the same algo. That was a crazy story. Oh man, I wonder if I should bring that up for those of you who haven't seen it. We got what time is it? How long have I been on here? What do I do? Paralyzed guy arrested. Yeah. I remember watching it.
You forcefully entered her home and attacked her. Is this a joke?
This woman called the cops.
At this point, it's funny because I already seen it. I don't mean to laugh at this, but
I don't have muscle control. Okay, that's fine.
It's not like
But on the other side,
I literally can't. I don't have muscle control. I'm not. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh!
33 to radio. Can I have a signal for my location for a white male who fell out of a wheelchair?
Eventually, a second officer.
So like that cop, to catch you up to speed, that cop literally confronted this guy in a wheelchair for a warrant for his arrest because he kicked in a woman's door. And then fortunately the other cop comes. Sorry, I wasn't planning on watching. But
so basically she was...
This other cop, this will be a good watch. We don't got to watch all this now. If you guys want to watch a video that like, it's you know, tragically funny. The funny part is this guy, he's like the cop that comes in, like the backup cop or like trying to catch up the story. And him trying to catch up on the story, like, wait a second. You arrested a guy for kicking in a door that can't walk, and then you pulled him out of his wheelchair. It was like, he was doing everything he could to stay professional and not being like, to the cop who's wearing the body camera. Like, you can just see on his face, he's like, you are the reason people don't like police, you effing idiot.
And when I got to the house, the front door was kicked in, and I think she was like hiding by the garage or something. And she comes out and she's bleeding from her arm. Her neck is bruised up and everything. She's like, my ex-CIC, it matched.
Wife said he got shot at 19. He's been paralyzed since then. Needs to do some backdrop.
So I was like, man, I don't know if this is true or not, and I can't ascertain that right now.
So, might need to call the district attorney's office. Because if the door was kicked in, he didn't kick it in. He didn't kick it in.
Well, she didn't say kicked in. She said, well, I can't recall if it was kicked in or if that's what she said. Because all I remember I wrote was that forced entry was made. So if it was kicked in, and he has indeed been paralyzed since he was 19 years old, that would be kind of hard.
Because I'm looking at his legs. I got a couple of relatives that are quadriplegics. That what we see with his lower extremities ain't for play.
Okay.
That's legit. And if he was born in 82, that means he was shot in 2001. And he's been paralyzed since, 19 years. I would suggest calling the district attorney's office. Let them know what.
That's a cop who's like, that part, I'm like, that, when I was watching that video, that guy restored my faith in, okay, you got to remember, we're seeing the worst of the worst here. Like, that is the craziest thing, right? And that cop was like, you're an idiot, basically. But then, what's even crazier about this story is this cop goes to, like, his boss. And I don't know if this is the first time he's in there. Let's see. I don't know if I got it right. I remember this point. So he goes to his boss.
Told him about it.
Oh, he already got the rundown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny watch.
So that boss, basically, they like told this guy, and the boss, without even seeing the guy in the wheelchair, is like, he's faking. He's not. He's not actually paralyzed. He's just faking to get out of it. And it's like, you didn't even look at the guy, and that's when I lose faith. And it's just like, it's crazy, man. Again, it just goes back to these people are people, you know? All right. Pretty bad, not pussy, but he's our caretaker. fleeing on foot part to it all. Yeah, yeah. In the middle, I suggest you use your yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. Change the story before its entry. People in wheelchairs. Yeah, imagine it's great. And if I remember, I think in the house, I think there's steps to get up to her door, which like just crazy. But yeah, that's
really intended to do was to arrest
so,
Ms.
That closes that story. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was somebody dropped a comment asking me what I think of the Sean Hollenbeck situation. And the truth is, I know absolutely nothing. I searched Sean Hollenbeck. Does anybody in the chat know about Sean Hollenbeck? Search Sean Hollenbeck, scrolled down, and saw Milton dad found not guilty in Uber driver gunpoint chase. So let's check this out on YouTube first. Overprotective parents don't understand. Let's see. Which one should we watch? That's a year ago. 41. Why don't we do this one? Does anybody here know about the Sean Hollenbeck case? Let's check it out. Florida dad sells his side in Uber driver gun case involving... I'm trying to see the driver's side first. I bet this is the... Yeah, this is the driver's side. All right,
a Milton man is in the Santa Rosa County Jail right now, accused of holding an Uber driver at gunpoint. A Milton man is in the Santa Rosa County Jail right now, accused of holding an Uber driver at gunpoint. It's all outlined in an arrest report from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. WEAR's Yona Gavino joins us live in the studio now. And Yona, it seems this girl snuck out of the house. A grown man drive his teen daughter home.
Bob, that's how it appears, and the child's grandmother told me this afternoon she is just 13 years old. The sheriff said he's a father himself, so yeah, he gets it, but he advises get the facts, assess the situation before jumping to conclusions. And in this case, an Uber driver was held at gunpoint on his belly for simply doing his job.
This is a mugshot of a man now in hot water after he was charged with kidnap and false.
Dude. I think, do we know what's happening here? This is crazy. How have I not heard of this story? What I'm assuming is some 13-year-old girl called an Uber, gets in the Uber driver's car, and the dad sees this and thinks that the, Uber driver is some dude picking up his 13-year-old daughter and pulls a gun on him. I'm assuming a lot of these things. I bet dollars to donuts I'm right. If so, that is a crazy story. I cannot even be mad at this guy. All I know is that girl better get in a ton of trouble. Brings it back to the Uber teen, man. Teens should not be ordering Ubers.
Falsely imprisoning an Uber driver over the weekend. I talked to Santa Rosa County Sheriff about Sean Hollenbeck's arrest.
Especially an Uber driver, you're just trying to make a couple of bucks on the side, and next thing you know, you got a gun pointed at you. It's like, kind of scary.
Hollenbeck is also charged with aggravated assault with a weapon.
It was an assault-style weapon. It was like an AR-15, but it turned out to be, it looked like an AR-15, but it actually was a .22 caliber, which is a lot smaller than the AR round.
This arrest report states Hollenbeck's teenage daughter hitched an Uber ride from Milton to Pensacola last Saturday. When she returned to her Milton home just before 11 p.m., the report says her dad saw an Uber driver dropping her off in the driveway next door. Johnson believes her dad's concern, not knowing the grown man dropping his daughter off, was justified, but his actions next were out of line.
I think it's a case of being an overprotective parent to some extent. Obviously, you're talking about a young girl being out late at night. If it's my daughter, I'd be worried as well. But it's important to get all the facts that you can get prior to engaging somebody.
With a weapon?
Apparently, and I don't know what his thought process was at the exact time, but he sees the car, he basically goes over with a weapon and gets the guy out at gunpoint, which, I mean, he doesn't really have a reason to do.
Deputies met the Uber driver at this Circle K afterwards. The arrest report said he was scared and shaking after Hollenbeck made him lie on his stomach in the roadway, pointing the gun at him and threatening to shoot him.
Jesus.
We found Sharon Singleton, Hollenbeck's former mother-in-law, outside of an address listed for him. She told me her granddaughter just turned 13 a week ago. It was the last time she saw her before the incident.
Yes, my main concern is Olivia. The rest of the stuff, you know, is really not my concern. I just love Olivia and I want to make sure she's safe.
Oh my gosh. Dude. I don't even know what to say to that. All right, now let's see his side of the story. I don't understand. The cop was like, he thought it was an Uber. Maybe he just saw an Uber car. Maybe the cop misspoke. That's crazy. All right, sorry. I'm like shocked right now. The fact that he made him get out and lay on his belly, like that is like, and thank God, like he was obviously out of his mind thinking the worst. Thank God you didn't shoot him.
Army veteran and founder of an equine therapy farm in Milton says his reputation is ruined.
Oh my gosh. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Just the way stories are presented. There's two sides to every story. Like, this is just like... Our last story started, you know, imagine you're an Uber driver. You're just out there trying to earn a couple extra bucks. And the next thing you know, you're face down on the pavement with a gun pointed at you. Now, this story starts with an Army veteran and a horse therapist is getting defamed or whatever it is. Like... God, man, why can't, like, people just share the freaking facts? Don't try to... honestly, I'm at the point where it's like, if you're saying something positive, I'm assuming there's something negative. If you're saying something negative, I'm assuming there's something positive. Like, you just can't believe things anymore.
Dr. Sean Hollenbeck is highly regarded in the local veterans community, but the Army veteran and founder of an equine therapy farm in Milton says his reputation is ruined. He was arrested Saturday night, accused of forcing an Uber driver from his car and onto the ground at gunpoint. Now, that Uber driver was dropping off Hollenbeck's 13-year-old daughter at home. WEAR's Yona Gavino is live in the studio, and Yona, Hollenbeck is standing behind his actions?
Bob, he firmly is. In fact, Hollenbeck is not backing down or saying maybe he overreacted. He wants everyone to know the gun was for his protection because he did not know who was in the car with his little girl.
Outside his Garson Point home, there is a clear kinship between Dr. Sean Hollenbeck and Athena, one of his therapy horses. He launched the War Horse Project.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. He pulled a gun on an Uber driver because his daughter was in the car. All right. Miscommunication, misunderstanding. Why the fuck are we talking about the name of his therapy horse? Don't give me that bullshit. Just give me the facts. I was trying to understand this guy. I was trying to be like, all right, dad overreacting. But whether it was his lawyer that insisted on taking this angle or it's the news doing it to him, it's making me hate him. It's making me not hate him. It's making me not trust him. Because why are you telling me this? Why are you trying to pull on my emotional strings about something that has nothing to do with this story? Is it because you're actually a scumbag that's standing by your actions and not just saying like, oh yeah, maybe I overreacted. Maybe instead of blaming this Uber driver, I should do a little better job taking care of my daughter and, you know, keeping tabs on where she is. Maybe my daughter shouldn't have access to Uber. Maybe I should hold myself accountable as a dad because my daughter was out somewhere I obviously didn't know and I didn't know how she was getting home. No, that would take too much work. Let's talk about our fucking horse and blame the Uber driver.
For vets dealing with trauma and others.
We do the kids too. We have kids with autism, visually impaired kids. We do families. We do everybody. We do EMS. We welcome everybody out here.
Okay,
But
now I hate this
his
guy.
money will be used to fight his legal battle instead of funding his nonprofit.
Oh, so
never
you
had a funder. Well, that's obviously going to change because I can't. I'm going to sell my assets. I'm going to pay my attorney. He just told me the fee. And I'll shut it down.
You're planning to shut it down to...
I don't have a paycheck Monday.
He says he was fired Tuesday from his job and dropped from firms he consulted for. He believes his mugshot is a black eye on a decorated military career.
I trained as a Navy flight surgeon. I served with 7 Special Forces. I served in the 160th. I did 6 tours.
He doesn't believe he overreacted Saturday night just before 11 when he saw a strange car with a strange man dropping his daughter off. She had snuck out, Ubered to Pensacola, and was returning home.
That vehicle was completely unmarked, and I had no idea. In fact, in my mind, this was not good, right? And everybody knows what's going on in this country with fentanyl and child trafficking and rape and terrible stuff.
I get all that, man. Just leave with that. Just leave with that. And you know what? Maybe this isn't his fault. Maybe this is just the news, the way they edit it, whatever. You say that, I get that. Just be honest. And you freaked out. I would freak out too. He says that. I believe him when he's saying all that. Just don't give me all this like, oh, we're helping all this stuff. I'm not taking a paycheck, nonprofit, helping people disabled. It's like, what does this have to do with the story? Just freaking, oh no. Is this not, am I behind on this? Oh, I'm really behind. Oh, sorry. I was on a rant there and I thought my live was all messed up. I gotta cut this out. There we go. All right. Sorry, it threw me off there. I thought I was screaming at, a time lapse. Backtrack to where I was. If he led with that, if he just led with, look, this is what I thought, and everything he just said, I believed him right there. And I'm like, that's a guy, I can understand his confusion and his anger and his worry. I get that. But all that other stuff, and again, I'll give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the news did it that way. Maybe they're asking questions, whatever. But it's like, you don't got to tell me all this other bullshit that has nothing to do with it. Just tell me what happened, and I'm more likely to trust you if you're authentic. But you can't tell me how a nonprofit horse farm with therapy dogs or therapy horses helping people has anything to do with this story other than to make me, I'm supposed to think you're like a good guy.
Wants people to see him as a man who fought for his country and is now fighting to uphold his good name.
In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. And I look forward, if this goes to trial, I look forward to it. Because I want to get 12 moms and dads on that jury. And they'll judge if what I did was fair. Because I called for law enforcement, and I didn't get them.
See, again, like that's where I appreciate him being on. If you just cut that if you cut out the first half, that's just a guy I disagree with. That's a guy who got emotional, overreacted, and then I disagree with him. That's all it is. All that other stuff is like, oh, this guy's a bullshitter that's trying to, like, what's the word? Like, this guy's somebody who's like trying to, not persuade. What's persuade, but with like a negative connotation? Like, this guy is like sleazy. Like, this guy's like, you know, being something that he's not, you know? And it's like, look, if you overreact or whatever, but that end there, you get 12 moms and dads there, like, no, not everybody pulls a gun on someone. And not everyone, like, you just can't do that. Just because you think something doesn't mean that you can do it. You know, if I'm walking down the street by myself and I think the guy across the street from me is going to rob me because he looks shady, I can't pull out a gun and tell him to lay down on the pavement. You know, like, you just can't do that. And I know you have a kid and it's emotional, but like, if every time you thought your kid was in danger or being bullied or whatever, like, you can't just like pull out a gun. You just can't do that. It's just like, what kind of world would this be? Every parent would be pulling guns on so many people. It wouldn't be, it's not civilization, man. That's what civilization is. Oh, man. Oh, that's crazy. That is a crazy story. Well, whoever asked that question, I might make that a video. I have not. Oh, so anyway.
Let me further explain what he just said.
To bring
right?
it full circle, if I recall, he asked about it because, yeah, they came to a conclusion, and it turns out he was acquitted. Interesting. Let's watch this. Let me catch up on the comments. I want to hear what you guys are saying. Am I crazy or what? Let's see. I heard of it. I had a younger woman ask to get dropped off a couple houses away from her destination early in the morning, like she was returning from sneaking out for the night. Yeah, I've had that a lot before. Defense actions, Army veterans, victim, fluff piece, exactly. Pulling guns, biggest thing. All right, you guys get me. You know, sometimes I say things, I'm like, I'm trying to be more authentic and not hold back here. And it's like, I know not everyone agrees with my takes, but, you know, fuck it. It's what I think, and I appreciate that I'm with some smart people here. And you know what? Even people who disagree with me in the past, I've seen a lot of people are like, I disagree, but, and that's fine too. Just like I said with this guy. You know, I disagree with the whole any parent would understand, yada, yada, but at least he was being honest there. All that other stuff was pissing me off. He made a choice. He's paying the price, unfortunately. That's right. Oh, so you're embezzling from your practice. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he could have knocked on the window and asked the guy what he was doing before drawing a gun, or asked his daughter what she was doing. Like, how is that not a conversation? How has nobody asked these questions or pointed that out? Like, as a father, if you're going to claim you're acting out of protection for your daughter, where is the responsibility and accountability for doing all those other things that involves? Like, I don't know, knowing where she is, knowing how she's getting back, knowing when she's getting back. I know, crazy thoughts, right? So a 22 so it was an AR-15 but 22 caliber. It's not something you're tucking in your pants. He went somewhere to retrieve that weapon and ran out of control. Yeah, this wasn't like spur of the moment. I have it right here. Right, good point. The guy pulled a gun and needlessly escalated the situation. It's totally his fault for not being responsible gun owner operator. Yes, amen, Cody. Yeah. Karaji says, to the point of him saying, I want 12 moms and dads on that jury, a.k.a. I want the most biased jury possible. How about a jury of responsible gun owners? Amen. The essence of this whole situation is he either had a responsible daughter he weighs well to not do stupid shit like that and should deal with his own paranoia, or ... I don't know if my cat shut out. All right. All right, let's see. I can't believe he was acquitted. Also, I hate this title because it ruins the story. Should be jury decides on father, or verdict in for father. You know, make me quit. Make me click. Don't tell me the story already.
Today, a Milton man, tonight acquitted of charges of aggravated assault and false imprisonment. Sean Hollenbeck was arrested a year ago for holding a rideshare driver at gunpoint at his home. Tonight, a jury found him not guilty of those crimes. And our Hannah James spent the day in the courtroom. Hannah?
Bob, Hollenbeck said this trial ruined his family. And at the end of the day, that's who he believed he was protecting when he pointed a gun at a rideshare driver.
I said this in there and I mean it. I would rather get shot at than go through that again in combat.
After 2 days of testimony, a jury found Sean Hollenbeck not guilty of aggravated assault and false imprisonment.
It's a blessing. Prayers are answered, and common sense. I can't even believe my family had to go through this. I think from the testimony that came out, I hope that the sheriff's office reviews what happened and press charges on the right people.
Hollenbeck's 13-year-old daughter snuck out of his house, ordered herself.
Press charges on the right people? Who could that be? Who else could possibly have any fault in this entire situation? Like, it wasn't like that last story that we talked about of like literally a case of mistaken identity when there was an actual victim and a hit and run and they got the wrong person driving. It's not that. What right people should be prosecuted? I'm trying hard to like this guy, but who's ever doing the PR coaching for him is doing a horrible job, because I'm trying my best as a dad to just like, okay, I can understand you're emotional, but he is just doing everything he can to make me not like him.
A lift to Pensacola. Hollenbeck immediately thought the worst.
He got on that stand and he testified that he felt that he had no clue where she was. He felt that she was being trafficked. He felt that she was being drugged, raped.
So when an unmarked car parked at the lot next to his home in the dark, he said his 31 years of active...
Again, just people politicking, man. Traffic is such like a buzzword these days. I talked about this on my last live. And it's like, don't get me wrong. It happens. Not saying it doesn't happen. And it's the most serious thing ever. But they just throw that word out there because, again, pulling on emotional heartstrings. I don't know much about trafficking, but from what I understand, people who are trafficked aren't usually brought home to their address. Like, do you think the trafficker is like, I'm trafficking you home here? Like, what do you mean he thought she was being trafficked? Oh, you're just saying that so that the jury hears that word and their brain fires and goes, danger. No wonder he acted like that. Like, what if he said, it's the same thing as saying kidnapped. He thought she was being kidnapped back to home. Like, it makes no sense.
Service in the Army kicked in.
What was running through the defendant's mind explains why this happened. It does not justify his behavior.
He pointed a gun at the driver, ordered him out of the car and onto the ground.
Now, when you were held at gunpoint, how did you feel?
Terrified. I pled for my life and said, I'm just an Uber driver. I have a son. Please don't shoot.
He got his information and let him go unharmed.
I submit to you that a reasonable person is not going to run up on a vehicle, not knowing who is in the vehicle, not knowing where the vehicle's coming from, having no facts about the occupants of that vehicle, with a loaded firearm. This is not Fallujah, Iraq.
Hollenbeck and the jury of his peers disagreed, believing he acted justly given the circumstances.
He should have never been arrested. This was a father that protected his daughter, and they stopped at...
Protected her from what? Protected her from an Uber ride that she ordered? The amount of bullshit that people allow to come from their mouths, and that he can look into the camera and say that wholeheartedly, like, God.
My client, doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing. So if I see this guy on the street and I think he's going to attack me because that's the way I feel, I'm allowed to pull a gun on him?
And, picked him out, and he should have never been arrested.
And with this verdict today, it shows the parents of Santa Rosa County that it's not illegal to protect your children. And that's what's important.
Hollenbeck says the acquittal is not the end. He wants an apology from law enforcement for pressing the charges.
One is, I spent my career in the military, and we have a saying called "Don't rush to failure." And if...
Okay, now, before you go, blame that on the cops rushing to failure. Do you see how this is applicable to your actions and your situation? Maybe if you didn't rush to hold the gun at an Uber driver and put him on his belly and threaten his life, maybe if you just asked a few questions, maybe you wouldn't rush to failure.
They just would have slowed it down and actually looked at the information. And
Dude, this guy is literally like, talk about projection. Just slow down and look at you. Like, how do these people say these things out loud and just not realize what they're saying? How do we share? Again, I said it in a video before. The fact that this guy votes is just like, oh my gosh. It's like an argument against democracy.
instead of flying the plane right into the tunnel vision into the mountain.
How is he saying this? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting, but how is he literally saying this with a straight face? Is this a joke? Are we living in a simulation and the Matrix has just run out of storylines and they're just like giving us this ironic satire right now? Like, I'm not going to interrupt this time, but just listen to everything he's saying about law enforcement through the lens of he could say it to himself.
And we have a saying called "Don't rush to failure." And if they just would have slowed it down and actually looked at the information instead of flying the plane right into the tunnel vision into the mountain, they've destroyed my life. I lost my job. My family went through hell. It's absurd. If they just would have done their job.
If you just knew where your daughter was, how about that?
Judge Clifton Drake presided over the case. At one point in the trial, he ordered jurors out of the courtroom and had a conversation with attorneys about citizens' arrests. The defense claimed Hollenbeck was making a citizen's arrest when he ordered the driver to the ground. The judge rejected that, saying, quote,
Good.
If law enforcement behaved the way that Mr. Hollenbeck behaved, there would be an uprising.
Yeah.
To point a gun at someone, order them around without any information, I don't believe that law enforcement can behave like that, end quote. Live in studio, I'm Hannah James.
Dude, that's a great point. The judge is saying, and this is a Florida judge, so it stands to reason. He's pretty conservative. The judge is saying, and I mean the fact that he got off on this, charge, you can just assume that it's a very conservative area. It's like, if a cop did exactly what this guy did, it would be wrong. Everyone would think that it's wrong. And somehow a citizen can do it? What? Like, it is crazy. This is a crazy story. Whoever made that comment, like, thank you for sharing this with me. I want to make a video about this. This is, wow, that is a crazy story. I wish I could find this Uber driver, man. I would, like, start a GoFundMe for him. Because, like, as he's saying they put my family through hell, yada, yada, yada. Dude, you want to talk about, like, going through hell. You want to talk about a traumatic experience. You're working a job trying to earn a couple extra bucks. And the next thing you know, you're face down on the pavement by a stranger pointing a gun at you. Like, that guy's not going to look at life the same after that. That man, I guarantee you that guy had some sleepless nights. Guarantee you, if he still drives Uber, he's, taking some Xanax to go along with it. I mean, not guarantee on the Xanax, but I'm just saying, like, I've talked about this before. There's been situations where, like, I thought I was going to get beat up, and, like, that still puts me on edge when I'm driving a group of guys at a certain time. You know what I mean? And, like, that is a far cry from being on the fucking pavement with a gun drawn at you. You know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about putting someone through hell. At least with this, horse therapy dude, he can put this behind him and the chapter's closed. That, if I'm that driver, man, you got to think for the rest of his life, he's going to have to figure out a way when he's stopped at a stoplight to not think some random dude's going to run up with a gun on him. You know what I mean? Like, good Lord. Man, that was a crazy story. That was a crazy story. Let me catch up on these. How on earth is that not false imprisonment? No idea how it was created. I agree. Is there a video about what happened to the other guy? The Uber driver, you mean? Yeah, press charge on the right people. Poor Uber driver scared for his life. There was no assailant. Like, there was no one at fault except for his daughter. Yes. Press charges on the right people in the future. I don't think he means prosecute someone else's case. Okay, that makes sense. Fair enough. Is it not the law to display tags in the U.S. when you're an Uber driver? Here in Scotland, you need tags still. I'm 90% sure. You need a license from the council as if you're going to be a PH driver. In some states it is, some states it isn't, but it really isn't enforceable, or it's not enforced, I should say. I don't know what it is in Florida. And, even if so, I don't know what was on that car, because depending on where he ran out, I know at one point he said it was unmarked, but, sometimes they only have a sticker on one side of the car or whatever it is. And it's like, if he runs out and charges with a gun from the other side where the sticker isn't, it's like, who knows? This is a case of appearances, the way the Uber driver dressed versus event. That's, dude, I literally wrote a book. I Hate You, Jimmy. It's literally all about appearances, man. Appearances, that's one thing. I don't know if I say I learned it too late in life. I appreciate that I didn't live my life based on appearances. But, man, appearances matter, man. Appearances matter. What's up, Morbid from Russia? Haircut and a suit would have gone a long way. It is crazy, but it's true. Karaji said, just lost my job. I was considering becoming an Uber driver in my city. This is funny timing. First of all, sorry you lost your job. Day at a time, man. You'll figure it out. I'm sure you will. Depending on the city, could be worth it. If I live down the shore, like Jersey Shore, Shoretown, heard Long Island's good. Certain cities, you can still make some money, especially during like a vacation town. But you hear stories like this, and it is a very real possibility where, like, yeah, every day you don't know what's going to happen. Anna says, I've had a loaded gun pointed at my head once. That shit stays with you forever. Long story. I feel so bad for the Uber driver. The verdict was wrong. I believe it, Anna. I believe it. Gee, sorry you went through that. Let's also talk about teens in an Uber. Yeah. Turn team request off. And that's another thing. Like, these are other good questions about this story that aren't being addressed, where it's like, was this done on the dad's account? Was this done on her account? If so, how does she have an account if she's 13? The account should be monitored by the parent, because that's how Uber Teen's supposed to work. Honestly, this Uber driver should sue Uber, because however it's set up, it was not in the right situation, if it was Uber Teen, the parent should have been notified, and the dad should have known that she had an Uber. So it's just like, man, that is a crazy story, man. Holy smokes. Yeah, I had some other stuff maybe we could talk about. I had some comments I was going to read over, but I can do that next time. That is crazy. We spent a lot of time on that. I'm glad that comment. Glad they made a comment. That blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. Holy smokes! Appreciate you guys coming out to the. We'll get the time lapse going again. Coming out to live. Solid conversation today. I turned team request off too, but I would still get them sometimes. Same with Uber Pet. Like, sometimes it still goes through. It's ridiculous. Oh, nice. Glad you got money to take off for a break for a month. Got a holiday booked and paid for it to go on it. That's great. Enjoy your time. Life's short. All right, here's a suggestion. On this note, totally unrelated to everything we just talked to. Let me find it. Hold on. I got to find this podcast. For somebody who lost their job and traveling instead, this podcast honestly changed my life. And this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But this is specifically for you, Karanji. Sorry if I keep saying your name wrong. Sorry, my buddy sent me the podcast. I got to scroll up to find it. Where is it? Oh, here we go. All right, you ready? Can I put it in the chat? Write this down. You ready? Bill Perkins' Memory Dividends on the Financial Independence Podcast. Let me know you got it. Write it down. I'm telling you. Oh, maybe I can. Can I put it in the chat? Can I chat on this or do I have to send it? Bill Perkins. It's a completely made up word. That's funny. Memory dividends. Memory dividends, time buckets, and maximizing something. Maximizing. The thing cuts off. It's on the Financial Independence Podcast. But basically, this guy talks about how, like, people always judge their, like, I don't want to say status, but they like, people are always concerned about saving and like their job and like working and saving and saving. They save till they're 70. And what he found was studying is like the problem when you're in your 70s with all this money is like you can't spend it. You know, you're not going to go climb Mount Everest when you're 70 because your knees hurt. You're not going to go, windsurfing when you're 80 because you're 80, And he's like, he just talks about how like a lot of people don't they bank money, but they don't bank memories. And like to kind of look at kind of life exactly what you're doing, where it's like, hey, instead of panicking because I got laid off from my job, and kudos to you for putting yourself in a situation where you have like months saving, but instead of panicking because you got laid off, it's like, hey, let's take this time to do something that you wouldn't do later. Because like me, in my situation right now, I got 2 kids. So, I can't just go take a month off. Otherwise, my kids ain't going to eat. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it's cool. That whole podcast just like really made me, there's a couple things just because I wasn't planning on talking about, but there's a couple things if I think about it, like really just made me think like just, there's a couple like quips he has and a couple like, I'm trying to think now. There's one like really good thing where I'm like, well, I would never have thought of it like that. And it like really changed my perspective. It'll come to me. It'll come to me after I sign off for sure. It's not always the same time on Friday, but I try to make it, around noon. Sometimes I get on at like 2 or 3. Cabman James, I do the same kind of content here in Vegas. I would love some pointers on how to grow and get better at storytelling. All right, well, I was about to sign off, but Cabman James, you just pulled on my heartstrings because there's nothing I like better than storytelling. So let's check out Cabman James content. Thousand subscribers, nice. All right, so the first thing when I'm looking at your page is the name of the game with Uber or with YouTube is, and this is different than other platforms, but the reason YouTube is very different than any other platform is that the viewer still picks the video, whereas the other platforms are just scrolling, right? As such, the thumbnail is half the battle. The biggest YouTubers don't have a video idea. The biggest YouTubers come up with a thumbnail idea first, and then build a video around it. Or they'll come up with a list of like 10 videos, and then of those 10 videos, they'll think what 3 will have the best thumbnails. Because if people aren't going to click, it doesn't matter. I'm a perfect example of this. Because when people watch my videos, my average retention is higher than most. And when people find my videos, they stay for a lot of times. But it's not a very clickable thumbnail, especially my older videos. They're all from a dash camera. They're black and white photos. They're not staged. So like I have to find a screenshot that worked. And on the other hand, I'm not good at thumbnails. Like I'm not great at picking like the words to get people to click, and I'm getting better. But I mean, case in point, not to toot my own horn here, but actually not to toot my own horn here. I'm about to toot the shit out of my own horn. My horn's getting tooted. So like right here, how do I make this bigger? So if you're looking at my page right now, right? So if you see breaking down, like if you don't know me, here, I'll make it bigger. There we go. If you don't know me, and that's on your homepage, breaking down parody song. You're going to see a guy you don't know leaning against a car and the words breaking down parody song. And then you only see 1,000 views. So you're like, all right, that's, called social proof. So nobody else has watched it, whatever. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's a funny video. It's a funny parody. It's one of the few videos I made where like I laugh while watching it, even though, I wrote the jokes. I know it. It's a fun video. It's a funny song. It's just funny, but it doesn't get any views. Now, I haven't posted on these other sites yet, but I guarantee I'll post on another site and it'll do pretty well. Case in point, I did a COVID parody. I'm not just tooting my own horn here. Wherever the COVID parody is, how do I search my own channel? I did a similar song, the Corona remix, right? Same thing. Guy you don't know sitting on a car, with a globe. COVID remix. I mean, it's 5 years old, got 90,000 views. In the past, it hovered around it was less than 10K forever. Meanwhile, it was trending. It's so bizarre to me because I'm not a singer. And it's so funny to me that my song was literally trending on TikTok for a while. And you can look on TikTok, there's a whole dance somebody made up and people are doing the dance and millions of views on TikTok because you didn't have to click the thumbnail. You just scrolled. People were scrolling. They recognized the R. Kelly song. It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen, right? Who doesn't love that song? And it's a funny song. And my grandmother's in it. People know my grandmother. But if you had to click that video, you're not going to click it because you're I don't know what I'm going to get. It doesn't matter. So all that's to say is a good way to find out if your content is good but your thumbnails are bad is to post it on TikTok and see how it does on TikTok. If it's outperforming on TikTok, which is a great algorithm to push good content up, that means your thumbnails are bad. People just aren't clicking. So all that's to say, back to you, Cabman James. Right off the bat, your thumbnails, if you got to think, if you didn't know you, would you click? People don't look at the title first, right? They'll look at the thing. So right away, it's kind of a low quality. This is is this not a full video? Am I going to watch a vertical video? Same thing here. Oh, wow, you drove Brandon Marshall? No way. Well, that's pretty cool. See, there's no way that should have 14 views. I'm gonna fix that for you. You still with me here, Cabman James, or I'm talking to no one? All right, you heard me say 1K. You still with me? I'm about to change this video for you. And then this will be oh, the other thing too is you want to, this day and age, and I do this wrong because I just like making videos. So if you're going to make the choice to do it, just know you're doing. This has nothing to do with your Uber stuff. So people interested in Uber stuff probably won't be interested in this and vice versa. As far as you got to think you're not a person, you're a channel. And so just if you were to if you were to turn on an NFL game and they're playing baseball, you'd be wait a second, I signed on to watch football. Why are you playing baseball, right? So if they know Cabman James is Cabman James, but then you're talking biblical stuff, it's wait a second. So what I would do is I would put the biblical stuff on a separate channel. Now, if you want to, if there's an Uber ride reconnected through church, that could work, right? Then you can talk about it. But you got to make, as Jalen Hurts says, make the main thing the main thing. All right, cool. So I'm going to show you what can happen with this Brandon Marshall NFL champ. Right away, you want your thumbnails to be 16 by 9. All right? And so, you know, think about it. If you're scrolling on your YouTube homepage, if I post my dog videos with my Uber content, it get confusing. I don't know if you do that or you're making fun of me, because that's exactly what happened to me. And it's funny because the dog video is one of my most confusing, or one of my most best performing videos, and so many people stick around for more dog content. And that was like a one-off thing I did 5 years ago because I had to watch my mom's puppy for the day. And I get all these comments on like other videos like, bring the puppy back. I'm like, I'm not a dog channel. Leave me alone, people. So you want to make that 16 by 9. And now Brandon Marshall, NFL champ. I know Brandon Marshall. Not everyone does. NFL champ, you know, what does that even mean? You know, was he like a bench warmer? Did he have a role, right? And then I also don't know, like, I'm assuming because you're in this chat and I know your name, that he's going to go for a ride with you in the Uber. But if I don't know you, like, I don't know, is this just some guy who's a fan of Brandon Marshall and he made a tribute video that's like a slideshow of vertical pictures? You know, like, I know nothing from this. And with only 14 views, I'm going to think, okay, this is probably like very underproduced. Maybe it's just like some, you know, kid like who likes Brandon Marshall and he's putting it on there, right? Now, and, you know, I hope I'm giving you this kind of feedback because you want it. And, you know, it's like you only give feedback to people who you have faith in. And so I'm saying this to you not to be harsh, but I'm just being honest. And I have a feeling you can adjust it and fix it and it'll grow. So what I would do with this, let me click this video.
All right, man. How you doing, man?
Doing good, bro.
Chilling?
Yeah, chilling, man, chilling. It's cool. Uplifting.
Man, we're gonna get into it. We got Brandon Marshall in the car, right? Football player, Vegas native.
This is my street I grew up on.
Whoa, did you produce this, James? See, like, this is the total different impression of what the thumbnail said. Like, the thumbnail, I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is just like a picture or a picture slideshow or something. Now, the fact that it's in vertical, it's not only in vertical, but it's also in horizontal. Like, that's not good. I don't know what editor you use, but what I would do is
we grew up in.
But like, just crop out. You got to crop this to make it. You know, I guess you got the captions there. So just bring that crop down. I know it's going to affect the quality a little bit, but you got to upload this in a vertical. a horizontal 16 by 9, because, you know, again, think of yourself like a viewer. Do you want to watch it like this, or do you want to watch it? You know, I can't make it even bigger, but you know what I'm saying.
And so many memories in this house.
Vegas Hero? Do they call you Vegas Hero?
If you want to call me that, that's. Well, you know what? They I end up getting my own day out here in North Las Vegas.
When?
It's June 10th.
June 10th?
Yeah,
no way.
It's Brandon Marshall Day in North Las Vegas.
Keys to the city type stuff.
Yeah, so now I'm trying to get a day for the entire city. You know what I'm saying? So they sectioned it off, which is cool. I'm grateful.
Yeah, no.
Yo, did you edit this, James? Bro, James, you got skills, man. Yeah, you can do a lot with this. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason this should have 14 views. This is super cool. The first thing, listen, dude, send me an email because this is really cool. Kudos to you for doing all this. I'd love to connect and, you know, share anything I know. The first thing I would do is, seriously, shoot me an email to Driver Ed Show. What I would do is,
What's up, bro?
Big dog.
How you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
That's in my legacy was.
Let's see. Did you do the edit too of like this right here?
This is the house.
Like, did you shoot all that, or is that from like a documentary that he was in? I mean, no judgment either way. Even just working in it is good. But if, like, dude, all right. Now I'm trying to find. So what I would do, and this is a tough. So down the road, if you know, do something like this again, what you would want to do is like, and it's awkward, it's weird, but you're like, all right, we need to take a thumbnail shot. So like purposely figure out a way. Like I'm trying to think, and this is like, again, I'm not good with this. I would have to take some time to think because I'm not good. But you know, maybe like you know, maybe he's in the back smiling, and you're like turning around, like, oh my God, you know, like, whoa, you know, like an NFL player's in my car, and I like, you know, and then maybe so like. Imagine this is the thumbnail, right? And imagine this is a thumbnail, and instead of you know, he's smiling, looking at the camera, and instead of you looking like that, you're like, oh my God, and then like maybe up top, Super Bowl champ, and then have an arrow pointing at him, you know? Because, and then like the title could be Super Bowl champ in my Uber. And so now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like a guy, like just like, you know, people who are interested in like the candid moments of an Uber or NFL players, and like, oh, I wonder what they talked about. Did a driver fan out, whatever it is, and then like you click on it, and you know, you get this like well-produced story that's building, you know. And then as far as the actual story, I'm not gonna watch the whole thing here, but there's a ton of storytelling content on YouTube. And again, if you email me, I'll send you a few of my favorite links. As crazy as it sounds, like I legit study storytelling. Like there's books I've read, there's, you know, YouTube videos I watch. It's more of a science than an art. It's both. I think that's why I like it. I'm left and right brained. But dude, the fact that you edited all this is super cool. Even the fact that you obviously had a camera in the back and you can edit all that, like, dude, I'm telling you, there's no reason this should have 14 views. YouTube's a grind. It's tough. But dude, it's just, so like, you know, don't think you're going to turn into like 1 million views overnight. It could happen, but don't expect that. Just try to get a little better each time. But I can tell you, man, there's no reason that these things should have less than 100 views. And, yeah, I would love to, you know, try to help you out, because I respect the fact that, good Lord, man. Yo, fucking Cabman James, my man, fucking been grinding. Sorry, I'm cursing. When I get angry or excited, I curse. I'm working on it. But yeah, dude, love the fact that you're grinding and still pushing, and you got talent. I'd love to help you how I can. So shoot me an email, and good for you, dude. The Driver Ed Show at gmail.com. Hell yeah, dude. Cool stuff. But man, good for you. From Google to the strip club. Now see, that's interesting. From Google to strip club. So let me watch this video. That's interesting. But let's see the story. Because the other thing too is you don't want clickbait, and you don't want people to be disappointed.
You'd be a good stripper, shit. If
I
you
would?
Was yeah, if you were a girl, you would definitely be upselling these men.
Thank you. You
You
know
would
what?
kill it.
You know what? I needed that validation.
About like 8 months. I just got here from California.
Right.
Like a year ago, but I wasn't working initially in the club. I was like doing like administration work.
Okay. And what made you change over? You was
P Valley.
Yeah.
That's my shit. So
Yeah, I remember. I seen P Valley.
yeah, P
I
Valley.
packed
Like,
his clothes. No, yeah, me and the wife watch that all the time.
oh, that's what's up. Yeah.
But so P Valley, you saw P Valley was like, yo, I can do that.
Yeah, cause no, and I swear to God, cause I work. I mean, if I'm leaving with more than 1,000 every night, I feel like and that's even humbly, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I really feel like it's cause my mouth. So I was always at the face of my company and like worked in the front and talked to hella people a day. So I was very comfortable, and I'm very extroverted too. It took me like a month to start leaving with the band every day, but you have to like
learn the game.
yeah, it's really like hustling too. Like I never sit down. I chit chat with the girls, but I'm more so like, okay, if someone walks through that door and they walk past me, that's a potential customer that I'm missing out on because I'm chit chatting job.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for about like 8 months. I love it so far. I just turned 21 too, so well, not just turned 21.
So you just turned 21. You're like making decisions.
Not just turned 21. I turned 22.
Are you 22?
In August.
All right, so I'm almost through your
22.
21s.
Yeah,
the long decade of 21s.
Yes.
And now 22 comes.
22 comes, but 22 is a great age.
All of them are great ages.
All the 20s.
As long as you keep making them, they great ages.
That part. And I
Okay.
feel like people get scared of getting older, but I think I feel like in society, we really pay attention to age, and I feel like that makes us age even more.
So what's the plan? 20s, this is what we doing.
So what
you
we
got the
doing-
body that works the job that you're doing.
Job, yes, I want to get a house. I want to pay. I did 2 years. I did psychology. Then I got an associate, so I can work in any hospital, like administrative work though, or with kids or anything that she does. She's an anesthesiologist, and she makes great money. Oh, that's cute. I fuck with that.
Yeah, I do content for online.
Oh, so we're a video creator right now.
Always.
Hey, follow me on Instagram.
What's the Instagram again?
Okay, shorty with 2.
So like right here from Google strip club, I skipped a little there. Like I don't know what Google wasn't mentioned at all. And then like part of it too, like the storytelling, you just gotta think like for people, and this is something I learned the hard way. For everyone you meet in your Uber, like you're having an experience with them, right? But like for a random person, like what's the difference between her talking about wanting to get a house or maybe what she's going to do in the future, all this kind of stuff into healthcare. Like I think it was interesting about the strip club, and I wish we kind of talked more about that, because that's it's not every day you get like a stripper's take on the strip club, and kind of like why she got into that. And part of doing real life content is like being conscious of that when you're talking to them, and that's something that I didn't really focus on because I never wanted to make the content first. So like personally, I wouldn't advise you to like, steering conversation, have content, because I would just rather have fun, and like that's how the authentic thing comes out. But the tough part is like, you're the best storytellers are the best editors. So you just got to decide like what's worth sharing, what would be interesting to people who don't know either of us. You know what I mean? And that said, and then the other thing I would say is just like the quality. Like if we can, like sometimes you're vertical with you, sometimes it was horizontal back here. And like if you could just always have horizontal, I think that would be the way to go. And then like the color, did you colorize this? I've been doing that with some of my videos too. But yeah, I mean, especially, dude, if you're in Vegas, I feel like you could have a lot of content. That'd be cool. Cool. Yeah, send me an email. I'd love to help you out. It is cool. All right, yeah, I got to get going, man. Holy smokes. Very, very cool. Yeah, Blue, I'm still live. Yeah, sorry. I was like, my brain's working now. This is just like trying to figure stuff out now. So, cool. Yeah, I'd love to talk with you too. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I don't know if anyone else enjoyed the YouTube breakdown. I love doing that stuff. Can't find her on Instagram. You're telling me a stripper lied? Telling me a stripper lied? Let's see. There's 2 Ks. Did you get that? OKK Shorty with 2 Ys.
Me on Instagram. Helps.
OKK Shorty with 2 Ys. 2 Ks, 2 Ys. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out. And yeah, I will see you next week. We're keeping the poll running, and we got another goal of 15 books. Let's make it happen. I got to shake and bake. And thanks for coming out. This is a wild story. Thank you, guys. All right, you guys have a good one. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Go Birds. Driver Ed out. Thanks for hanging out, man, and enjoy the vacation. No, I was getting going, Blue. You missed it. I'm guessing you weren't here, but you missed it. Cabman James asked for some YouTube advice, and I found a sweet channel. We were chatting about that. I was planning on leaving 20 minutes ago, but Cabman James had too much talent to ignore. All right, guys, over out. Happy weekend. Thanks to everyone supporting the book.